The new air realistic battle rating changes have just been announced by Gaijin. I'm not going to be talking too much about the changes themselves, but instead I wanted to cover which planes I think are going to be the biggest winners and probably go from very good to OP in the next patch. I'm going to go over these changes just quickly so you're familiar with what I'm talking about. Essentially, almost every single 14.3 aircraft is now going to 14.7. There are a couple of exceptions, and not all of the 14.0s are being moved up either. For example, the F-15C Golden Eagle is not being moved up, while the Rafale, the Eurofighter IASA, the Su-30 SM-2, the F-18E, and also the Gripen are going up. The Gripen is actually going to 14.3, so it's a very small change, but that's by the by. At the same time, what is also happening is the F-15A, F-15J, and the BAS are moving down from 13.0 to 12.7, which is a crazy change and a really nice one as well. But we're not here to talk about that. Instead, I wanted to cover which ones I think would be the biggest winners. Let's start off with the American tree. First of all, I think that the F-15E and the Golden Eagle not moving up, so F-15E is staying 14.0 and the Golden Eagle is staying 14.3, are actually minor buffs to both of these aircraft and may make them a little bit more viable in the new meta. In addition to that, the F-15 A specifically here, going down to 12.7 is actually a huge buff, because one of the downsides of playing this is that you could get constant up tiers to 14.0, which wasn't very easy to deal with, especially in a plane that only carries semi-active radar homing missiles. In Germany, there aren't any significant changes or winners I can really think of. I suppose the ICE now doesn't face the Gripen, and also same for the MiG-29G, but barely anyone really plays these planes anyway, so I think this is a very low impact change overall, so unlucky for Germany players. Now let's move on to the USSR tree. Here things get a little bit more interesting. The MiG-29 SMT and the Su-30 Mk2 AMV, that's the Venezuelan premium, are both winners. Now, the MiG-29 SMT no longer faces top-tier aircraft. Maybe the MiG is back? I don't know, but this is actually a very interesting change for this plane. The premium one, the Su-30 Mk2 AMV, this is an insane buff, and this aircraft doesn't need it. It's already performing very, very well at 13.3, and now putting it out of the top range bracket basically means that it is just going to absolutely bully and destroy even more games than it is already. So, very big winner. The USSR players are eating quite good here. The UK tree, unfortunately, I don't know. There's nothing really that benefits that much from this change. Maybe the 13.0 Tornado, I guess, or the Sea Harrier, but both of these planes suck. So, yeah, unlucky UK players, you really get nothing. And then you also get screwed on the ground BR changes, so have fun. Japan is quite an interesting one, actually, because there are a couple of things going on here. First of all, you actually get a buff to the new MiG-29N, since, again, it will no longer face top-tier aircraft, which is great, especially for a plane that's pretty much not really played, or I don't want to say abandoned, but mostly forgotten by the community. I like that. The other big buff I would say here is, of course, the F-15J, which is now going down to 12.7. So another very nice change for the tree here for Japan. Unfortunately, in terms of anything else, not too much else going on. I would probably say the F2A ADTW, the premium, is actually a big loser with these changes, because now it just stays with the Su-30s, the premiums, and it will get bullied by them. Now it's time for China. So listen up, my Chinese players, because you are going to be eating super, super good. China is actually one of those rare countries that has quite a few aircraft at 13.3. And 13.3 is specifically the BR that's getting the biggest boost with these changes. So here we have 4 aircraft that are potentially going to be game-breakingly good. First of all, we have the F-16 MLU 13.3, no changes, 6 ARH, avoids top tier BR. This is going to be a banger. The next one is the J11A. Now, people used to skip the J11A because it was kind of still a boat with bad radar and RWR and would just face top tier, but now it no longer does. So this could be a very good change for this plane. In addition to that, let's talk about the JEF, the JF-17. Also, now is going to avoid top tier planes and is staying at 13.3. So another buff to an already excellent plane. And last but not least, let's talk about the Su-30 MKK, the single most OP premium in the Chinese tree at the moment, the air tree at least. It's, I would say, better than the J7D. It's 13.3, it has a decent flight model with good energy retention, good speed, and it carries 6 PL-12s. In China, the only planes that carry PL-12s are either the J8F, which is 13.0, or basically everything else is 13.7 or above. So this is an insane buff to this aircraft, and this aircraft did not need that buff. So I don't know what they're thinking even doing it. This just needs to go to 13.7. But China, this is a huge win for you guys. You're going to be eating good. So nice one. Italy is next. Italy. What do you have for me? Well, you at least are winning a little bit here because you do get a buff to your F-16 ADF. Staying at 13.3, you're again out of the top tier bracket. You don't get to get bullied by Eurofighters, Su-30, SM2s, and Rafales anymore. So this is going to be awesome, Italian players. You're gonna wanna switch to that plane if you're not playing it already, because I think it will be a lot of fun, just like in the Chinese tree. So actually a small win for Italy. France. Here I don't really see too many winners. You have nothing that's 13.3, so nothing really benefits. And I think actually you're kind of losing with these BR changes because your 12-7 planes are now going to be facing the F-15s. And also your premium Mirage F1C200 is also going to be facing more F-15s. So I think you overall kind of lose. But to be honest, I don't really feel sorry for you though, because you've had the Rafale for ages and that's kind of been like bullying everything at top tier for almost a year now, or maybe over a year, I can't remember. So yeah, you gotta take the L on this one. Moving on to Sweden. So in Sweden, again, not too much going on in terms of winners here, honestly. Maybe a small buff to the 39A, but I really don't think so, honestly. So I would say Sweden is pretty much going to stay the same. It's still very good. You know, the Gripen Just 39E is amazing. It's still not going to top tier for some strange reason, I guess because they think the engines are too weak or whatever. But yeah, no major changes for Sweden, so staying neutral, as you guys always do. Now, in Israel, the only real winner that you have here is the Baz, the 13.0 F-15, going down to 12.7. Apart from that, not really changing too much. Maybe actually a small nerf because your nets will be still facing the hordes of the Su-30s, but apart from that, pretty neutral. So yeah, that's kind of it for Israel. So overall, these are kind of my predictions and thoughts about the new BR changes. I think it's good that they're moving the IASA planes up, because facing IASA aircraft in non-IASA planes is annoying and very hard because of how good that radar is, and also combined with their excellent airframes. So that's a good thing, but this decompression again is too incremental. And unfortunately, there are too many planes that are now just being left in very strange positions where I think they're going to be OP. Personally, I think the biggest offenders are the premium Su-30s. They just should not stay at 13.3. They need to go to 13.7 because they're too good at that current BR. In the perfect world, they wouldn't be facing top tier anyway, but for some reason, we're going to get this zero point 0.7 BR increase or 0.4 BR increase every 6 months instead of getting some kind of real transformative change that I think ARB really needs and also really deserves, because it's a great game mode that's brought down largely by the issues with compression. So, bit of a different video. Thanks for watching. I wonder if this was useful or interesting at all. And I will see you probably on one of my next reviews. So, take care. Have a good one.